came to and told us, "Yo, your host did that thing, bro."
Nah.
Don't do that to me. Don't do that.
But
Nah.
They were like, yo, listen, we don't know where you got him from, but he was the star of the show.
Nah.
Listen.
Well, listen, we can negotiate. Rates. If you wanna, if you
Come
want him for the future hosting and that.
Yeah, come on. Well, he's so funny because few people contacted me after that, and they're like, "Yo, do you wanna host this for us?" And
You're
host that for us?"
lying.
I'm looking at them like, "Yo, this is not. this is my career."
Listen, bro, you have to diversify. Yeah,
Innit?
more revenue streams.
Exactly. Now the funny is on goes, "Do you do stand-up comedy?" I said, "My brother, don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. I said, don't do that to me. I'd 1-2 jokes. That's it.
Don't ask me too much.
Don't get too much."
How did you find it, bro? How did you find overall? How did you find the event?
You know what? Yeah.
Because I don't think we haven't properly spoken.
No, we haven't spoken.
Yeah.
No, we haven't.
Because obviously, and we'll get into it, but obviously, certain people published author and that after. I mean, they had their own thing afterwards. You know what I mean? We'll get into that. Innit?
It's been a while since we even recorded anything, isn't it? It's been a couple of months.
Yes.
It's been so long that we didn't even introduce it.
Oh, listen, we'll get to that, bro. Why are you rushing? Why is this guy rushing? Let me chat to my bro.
No. But we haven't even done the roasting.
You know what I mean?
It's been a long time, man. I think I was burnt out after the event, and then like there was a hash, and there was every weekend there was something happening. It got to the point my family are looking at me like, what's going on? You know what I mean?
Say, yo, Fox, what you doing? Because you guys are always traveling as well.
You're too outside. They were like,
you're
too
outside. You know what I mean? And we're always coming to London, traveling. MMA became my best friend. So alhamdulillah.
I know that car's crying. That mileage.
No, but it's been quite for 5 weeks. We haven't driven it now. So alhamdulillah.
Have to give it a rest.
MashaAllah. Chat to me. How did you find the event?
You know what? I love the event. I love the idea of it. I remember one of my boys. Yeah, he's not. You can't get through to him. He's like one of them people that are strong-headed. Like when I'm doing it, I'm doing it. When I'm ready, I'm ready. But he came up to me after that. He goes, "Bro, but that inspired me, man. I'm doing it now. I'm doing it. I'm starting my business now."
Yeah.
I said, "That's it." Even my missus afterwards, she was like, "Yeah, like that really did put my life into perspective. Like this is not just about going to work or just about existing. It's about making a difference." And I was like, "MashaAllah, like that's it. What you gonna do now?" What's the action? Where's the action? Where's the talk?
Yeah.
No, so alhamdulillah, it really did inspire me as well to see so many people.
Yeah.
And it was a beautiful concept, very, very beautiful concept. And to be fair with you, it was so funny because I was just seeing people I was seeing here, yo, I haven't seen you for a while.
Yeah.
Yo, what you saying?
Yeah.
So it was actually nice catching up with a lot of people as well.
It was wholesome. I think it felt like a family reunion, to be honest.
Yeah.
Everyone who was there felt like they were part of your journey at some point in life. You know what I mean? So it was nice to see. I think it was very easy to look at each table and be like, yo.
Wallah.
What you doing?
No, I saw my cousin.
No way.
And I said, "There's no way you're here." What are you doing here? You're from Cardiff. What's going on?
Alhamdulillah.
It was the first. Also, it was a very new experience as well.
Yeah.
It was the first of its kind I've ever been to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usually when I'm wearing a suit, it's for a wedding.
Same.
Maybe a graduation. That's it. So
Pushing it
so
there.
this, yeah. So like this is like it was amazing. That's why when I made the joke, I said, "Yo, it's the first time I've seen a lot of Somali boys wearing suits, and I want to go in prison." And a lot of people like, "Whoa."
Alhamdulillah. Nah, bro. Honestly, it was an incredible experience. And we're so grateful to have you on. We've been talking about this for a while, but I think I think timing really is everything. For Alhamdulillah, I think we're grabbing you at a right time, right juncture for yourself. We're incredibly for the one or two people out there who don't know who you are. AdiWahab is a published author now, and he is venturing into a space that very few people from our background venture into. He's talking about things that very few people talk about. He's breaking boundaries. He's shattering taboos. He's wading into these areas and saying, "Look, these are things we have to talk about, but we're talking about it from a perspective of perspective grounded in our religion and in our culture. So inshallah, I'm sure this conversation is going to be an incredible conversation. We'll get into your book and the insights from it and takeaways from it, inshallah. So we're incredibly privileged to have you. Jazakallah khair for coming down.
Alhamdulillah, jazakallah for inviting me. First of all, let's get into every time I talk about the gala event and my own book launch event, it's so funny because people are like, oh, how are you the host? So like, and I'll tell these guys put me in a circle. I'm like, these guys put me in a circle, and the next day I got called Mahashim, yo, what are you saying? Literally. And I was like, the qadr of Allah, sometimes you're just in the right place. Like, I remember my cousin Zakaria, he don't say, AdiWahab, do you wanna go break your fast in Brum? And I've been telling my friends, yo, I wanna go Brum. Tarawih, like that's the little Muslim country. And then I enjoyed that day, wallahi, and then obviously the fruitfulness of us working together and hosting and everything like that, wallahi, alhamdulillah for that.
Alhamdulillah. I remember it was crazy because we were brainstorming and we were brainstorming for months for that event. So when we actually announced it had already been a couple of months, I think, right? And then we were trying to brainstorm the host.
Yeah.
And each person that we brought up, someone would have a problem with them. Right? You'd be like, not too sure. Is it the right fit? Is that what we're trying to go for? So it was like everyone would have somebody that they would think, yeah, I think that's the person that can, host this event. Our first ever, gala, our 10-year anniversary. I think this person would reflect us the best, right? You know what I mean? And then, yeah, so it was like we're going back and forth. And subhanAllah, how things work out, it's you weren't meant to come to Birmingham.
Yeah, well, I wasn't.
Your cousin calls you to come to Birmingham, and we'll all sit down and we're just. That's what's so incredible about this conversation today. But men were just sitting down having a heart to heart.
Wallah. I went back to my wife, yeah, and I said, "You will never believe it." I said, "There was 20 of us, and they were just throwing questions at me."
See what I mean? And it was like everyone was like dropping their guard. And remember, some of the things some of the lads were talking about, and they put to the table. We looked around and thought, I can't believe he's saying that. When the stuff he was saying about, the vulnerability and, how it's opening up. And you're thinking, wow, And then when that happened and we were talking about that, let's do something together, whatever, blah, blah. We need you on the podcast. We're just looking at each other like, yes, this is it, man. This is it. We said, scrap everyone else.
Alhamdulillah.
You know what I mean? We said, scrap everyone else. I think he has the right balance. Allahumma barik. And if there's someone that needs to represent what we're trying to do, and someone who's also like for the community, like every year we used to see him in Masjid Quba, the careers fair, like he's not shy, he puts himself out there, you know what I mean, like passionate about, making a difference, but also less about talk, more about action, So he said, yeah, come on, it has to be, because everyone has something like that might not be about community, but they know how to speak, they're good orators, blah blah. Was it before? Nah. I think we need to. If he says yes, jackpot. So jazakallah khair, wallah. It means a lot, but it also, I think it was that cherry on top of what we were trying to do at the time.
100%.
Alhamdulillah.
100%. So we've alluded to it, we've touched upon it, vulnerability, opening up, taboo, you know what I mean? But before we get into kind of the questions that we have for you, inshallah, tell us about yourself. Tell us what it is you've done. What is this book that you've published? Why have you published it? And as you go into it, obviously, give us a little bit of understanding. Look, you're young, you're Muslim, you're Somali. What made you go into this space?
Do you know what it is? So my role is a relationship coach. And it's funny because everyone else now calls me the love expert or the love doctor. And I'm like, no, I'm just a relationship coach. I'm not an expert or anything, I'm just a student. And the book that I published is obviously called Can I Answer Your Question? It's a comprehensive guide for premarital, but also like creating a structure within your marriage. And the way it came about is because alhamdulillah I got married. It's almost a 1 year anniversary now. And the way I got married was, I was like, so when I started practicing like 2019, I was like, okay, cool. I want to get married. There's no way to do it that is like okay, right? And then people have this concept of do it halal, right? I'm like, okay, cool, that's correct. You should do it halal, but what does it mean to do it halal? What does it mean for somebody who went to a mixed school? You know, what does it mean for somebody who's never navigated this area? And as you know, a lot of our parents knew each other, right? Growing up in their back home, whatever, they knew who so-and-so was. So it wasn't taboo for them to be like, okay, you know what, like, I've known this person for 15 years. You know, your parents will tell you you're going to get married to that person. Because they already know. They'll say, don't even think about it. You already signed. So then how do you then navigate that in today's world where you've gone to a university, you've gone to college or A-level, you've gone to high school, you've met so many people. How do you then have a halal way of getting to know somebody, but also fully know somebody, right? Because people say you don't know anyone until you live with them, you do business with them, and you travel with them, right? And then we have social media, we have movies, we have books, we have Western culture of like romance, right? Where you have to date in order to get married. So then I remember I came up with questions. I said, you know what? After talking to some people, experiencing some things, getting my heart broken, I said, yeah, this can't be like there has to be a more efficient way for me to get to know people and for people to get to know me. And then alhamdulillah, I met a relationship coach. So when I was just before I got married, did premarital counselling. And at that
premarital counselling with your now wife or on your own?
No, my own.
With your now wife.
Yeah. So I did it on my own. She did it on her own. Yeah. So then I did fiqh of nikah. Then I was in the coaching and counselling school. I studied psychology and criminology, so graduated from psychology and criminology. And so it was all these different things, but I actually didn't want to go into love. Even though I've always been fascinated by it, always been intrigued by it, always wanted to go into that field. I was kind of like apprehensive. So I was like, number one, you're Somali. What the hell do you know about love? Number two, you're not married yet. What the hell do you know about love? I was like, I'm married. And number three is like, it's such a taboo thing for a guy to be speaking about it, and it's not in the Islamic lens. So usually you would hear it from a sheikh, right? And they'll speak about it in a form of like the fiqh of nikah. They'll tell you, oh, you're a man, you have to pay for the wedding, you have to pay for this, you have to pay for that, the rights of this, right? You're a woman, you must obey your husband, right? All these different, like, it's very Islamic things, right? But even Islam has a way, like, people want really dive in to the fiqh of marriage, really dive into the behaviors of marriage. Islam goes through a lot. However, the lectures that we receive and the detailing that we get are very like broad. So they're like, okay, cool, but how do I deal with my shit? Like, how do I deal with my stuff when you're just telling me I should pay for things? That's it. Like, that's the only right you're bringing in front of me, right? That's the only responsibility that you're telling me. And you're like, oh, you have to be kind to your wife. You know, we have the broad hadith and stuff like that. So you're like, okay, cool, that's fine. So when I met a relationship coach, he said, yo, I'm gonna put you through this coaching system. I'm gonna be your mentor, and I'm gonna teach you this and do that. That's how it came about. So I came up with, like, at first it was 50 questions, and then I'll speak to like friends who are like married or even divorcees, and alhamdulillah, like, divorcees were much better at like telling me what went wrong. They did not hide from details. They were like, yep, that happened, this occurred to me, I should have looked after this, now I have a child with him, or now I have a child with her, this is happening to me. And my eyes are opening up. I'm thinking, subhanallah. Obviously, married people, they're not going to tell you issues within their marriage because they're like, this is private, right? I can give you a question they could possibly like allude to, but I'm not going to expose myself and bear myself out there for you to know what's happening in my household, which is fair enough, right? But then I came up with like 200 questions. And then I went to my relationship coach and I went to a couple counsellors and my masjid as well. I went to them and said, hey, these are the questions I've designed. What do you think of them? And they were like, whoa, like, these are so detailed. Like, what the hell? I said, okay, cool. Then refine them some more. And then as I'll speak to people, I would refine it even more, or I would add more texture to it, right? Because I'll be like, oh, like, I'm experiencing this. I never thought I would experience it. Let me add it to the question. I'll give you an example. Like, I remember I was speaking to a sister just before I got married, and for like, it was 2-3 months. As we were talking, I was obviously, she lived in, you know, London's big, right? So I'm driving to her an hour, picking her up, and I realized it's been 2 months. This girl has not complimented me once. She has not appreciated nothing. She's just take it. I came out to her one day. I said, hey, like, I always say thank you for coming out today. Thank you for spending time with me. I appreciate you. Da, da, da. But you don't really do the same. Like, is there an issue, or is that something that you don't think you need to do? And she was like, I would never compliment a man. And I was like, oh.
Wait, she said, I've never. Well,
I will never.
I will
never. She goes, I will
Wow.
never compliment. And she goes, and I said, you know, like that's not correct. That's not way of doing things. You know, you should appreciate people's effort. You should appreciate people's time. You should appreciate, people's gestures. And she was like, yeah, but that's not me. I said, thank you. I said, I really, I really appreciate the honesty. I said, thank you.
Yeah.
And we stopped speaking. I said, from today on, we're done. We're not speaking any longer. And she was like, wow, like, because I didn't compliment you, you're going to end it?
How sensitive.
Yeah, how sensitive.
Yeah.
She legit called me feminine. She was like, oh, what a feminine trait to have.
That's nuts.
And I said, what, for standing up for myself? For having a way of doing things for myself? For understanding what I want? And she goes, yeah. I was like, she goes, that's very feminine. Why? She goes, next time I'll take you out.
Man.
She said, next time I'll take you out. And I said,
That's nuts.
I said, okay.
What, to be treated like a human being?
Yeah. She said, next time I'll take you out.
To be like, I'm being Adam, huh?
Yeah, and I said, okay. I said, you know, you've clearly shown your colours, right? Jazakallah khairan. You know, I really appreciate your time still. Take care of yourself. Moved on. And then I met, so every time I would speak to somebody, I would go through the questions, I would easily read them out quickly. It would be so fast. I'll say one question, one answer, and they'll answer it, and I'll be like, you haven't thought about life. You're not ready for what you're getting yourself into. Like, I'll give you an example. One question is, what's your understanding of marriage? Islamically, marriage is for the sake of Allah. The purpose of this whole thing is for the sake of Allah. And marriage is one of the greatest ibadat. So I'm thinking, you should have that. You should understand that that's what you're getting yourself into. So when they say things like, oh, like, I just want to have children, you know, I just want to live a comfortable life. I'm like, okay, those are parts of the parcel, the benefits, but this is for the sake of Allah. So you don't understand that. You don't understand what you're getting yourself into. You are not there yet. You know, you haven't done your research yet. You're just kind of going on whatever society told you. You get to a certain age, you're like, ding, time to get married now. You know, everyone else is getting married. You see that last wedding we did? Yeah, we're doing it. So I said, you know what, you're not ready, sister. You know, maybe someone else is out there for you, but you know, I'm not that person. Then I came up with the questions. Then I met my wife. So then I said to her, hey, this is the way I do it. I involved the parents early on. Are you okay with that? She said, what do you mean? Let's go. She might have, I got questions for you. I said, alhamdulillah.
That's someone who's already along, but
Wallahi. And then we legit, I remember we spoke for like 3-4 days. We went through the questions, and then on FaceTime one time, and then in person. And by like the first meeting, we met with our parents. So everyone was there. And then legit after 2 weeks, I was like, yeah, I'm done. Like, I'm out. Like, that's it. Like,
you've asked everything you need.
Yeah, I said you've done the main things. You've done the main things that I need you to do. You've got them. The things that I need, things that I desire. So I create this like quadrants, right? So non-negotiable, negative, positive, non-negotiable, negative, and a positive trait. So a non-negotiable positive is like things that this person has to have no matter what. It doesn't matter how pretty they are. It doesn't matter how funny they are. It doesn't matter how ambitious or great of a person they are. If they don't have these things for me, it's a non-negotiable. And then the non-negotiable negative is like certain traits that I cannot agree with, right? Like any sort of like drugs, or we call it bilwat in Somali, any sort of like someone who's not praying. I said like that's a non-negotiable for me, right? And the positive traits are like things that are catered to you. Like you might be an outgoing person. You're like, you know, I want a foodie. I want someone who really likes food, right? It's not really gonna affect your marriage, but you know,
if you don't have it, we can't really.
Yeah. If you have it, like amazing, right? So I wrote those down. So then now it's like I have an avatar of what I'm looking for. So now when I'm meeting people, there's like a checklist I have already, and I'm like, okay, cool. And these checklists are not crazy things. They're not like hard things that people won't have. They're just things that people have to have it. And so when I went through a checklist with my wife, I said, yeah, alhamdulillah, khair, done.
But don't you think people have too much of that list? You know, of the criteria in terms of they have to tick all of these boxes and less about the qualities, if you know what I mean. Like it's like they have to be this. And when they're missing a few, all of a sudden it's like, nah.
You know, I always say like I have 3. Have three
Non-negotiables.
Yeah, have
Hard
three
lines,
non-negotiables, hard lines that that's it. Don't go overboard with it. Don't be superficial with it. Like I know some people 6'5".
Very specific.
Yeah, right. Have non-negotiables that are like, that's it. The rest of it you can go through the questions with your partner, and really understand each other. But it's also about creating structure. So people who are already married came to me and said, Sahib, can I use your questions? I said, yeah, that is for structure. So if you didn't have structure before, now you can, right? Like questions such as like, how would you like me to treat you when you're upset? What's your communication style when you're happy and when you're upset? Things like what's your role within your family, and how's that going to affect the marriage? What's your understanding of what sort of love do you want? How do you want me to cater to you, essentially? Because for me, it's like I understand love as an action, right? It's a thought, it's a will, intention, but it's an action, right? Because I can
it's not a feeling.
Yeah, it's not feeling like it can come with a feeling, but you've been married, so there's times where you don't feel it in terms of like, man, I have to go to the shop. There's no motivation, but it's a responsibility. There's times where you do it because it's your responsibility. So like I've seen people like, oh, it's a feeling. But I'm like, my friend, sometimes you don't even like yourself. You know what I'm saying? What do you do now? What do? You say, I'm not going to take care of myself because I don't like myself. No, there's responsibility. Sometimes even salah with khushu. There's days where like you're dragging yourself to that salah. You're dragging yourself to fajr. You're like, I'm so tired. I'm so drained. I'm so burnt out. It's still your responsibility. It doesn't matter how you feel. You still have to get that done. So for me, it was like, okay, cool. What actions does a person need to have in order for me to feel loved? And what actions do I need to exhibit or do for them in order for them to feel loved? And can we come to an agreement? And immediately, alhamdulillah, like 2 weeks I was done. And the worst thing is I actually interviewed other husbands. And I said, I think I interviewed like over 40 of them. And I asked them one question: when did you know? When did you know you were going to marry your wife? The longest that someone said to me was 3 weeks. They said, I knew the whole time, but to get like real clarity, to get real like, yes, this is definitely her, they said 3 weeks. Because I already knew. I always say to girls, the guy knows.
100%.
The guy knows.
100%.
You can only lose a man, you can never gain him. Like you can show him whatever qualities you have. If he doesn't recognize those qualities from the get-go, he will never recognize it.
Exactly.
And you just need to stop. You just need to relax. With the girls, opposite. They need to see your qualities. They need to see that proof.
Showcase it.
They need to show. Yeah, they need to. Because if I was a girl, I'd be afraid of every man. I'd be like, you know what? Like, I don't know who the hell you are. I don't know where the hell you came from. And so show me like what type of person you are, and then inshallah we'll work through it. Whilst with the guys, like, I know what I'm looking for. Once he finds it, it's locked up.
AdiWahab, there's a few things that you said, all gems, but there's 2 points I want to kind of drill into. The first one, that interaction that you had with the sister who kind of mocked you for showing basic human need. Okay, I mean the need to be gratefulness. First of all, is act of ibadah. We know that those if you thank people, you thank Allah. When you don't thank people, it's like you're not thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So gratefulness is a massive aspect of our religion, and even just as basic human common sense and how we engage with people. There seems to be this, I don't know what it is, but that sentiment is not isolated. So that that thing of you want to be complimented, that's feminine. You know what I mean? I'll take you out next time. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It doesn't seem to be
it's not isolated. No.
Yeah. Where do you think this comes from? And as a consequence, when a lot of times people say, oh, guys, especially men from our kind of backgrounds, they don't show enough emotion, they don't open up. What kind of impact does this have on young men when they have that kind of experience? When if they open up a little bit, that's the feedback they're getting back. How does that impact guys as a consequence?
Well, it impacts a lot. Like, I have a lot of guys who are coach, even a couple who are like husbands themselves, and we'll sit down and I'll give them a structure. And even guys who, alhamdulillah, right now one of them, a few of them are about to get married, and we worked on them being firm, but them being vulnerable at the same time, and them being able to be expressive with their needs. And one of the firm things that we said is that if somebody makes fun of you, or uses that vulnerability against you, note it down and also move. Don't be in an area where you're not celebrated.
Yeah.
Don't be in an area where you're not safe. And here's the thing, vulnerability needs safety. You cannot be vulnerable with a person who you are unsafe with. And sometimes we've learned early on as childhood, let's be very honest, we come from a East African background. The likelihood of a child being taught how to emotionally regulate himself, so recognize the emotions that he has, and to name it and to express it is very low. Because as a guy, we all grew up, we got told, why are you crying? What do you mean sadness? That's not for you. You know what I'm saying? We get praise for doing things that are like physical labor. We get praise for not crying. We get praise for not being expressive. We get praise for being silent. Like, oh my God, like, look at him, he stubbed his toe and he's not crying. Well done. Ninragwe, right? So what did we learn? We learned early on, expression means weakness. You know, having feelings means weakness. But here's the thing. Feelings are just information within your body, right? Emotions are in motion, like legit energy in motion. Like, it has to come out. So there's a book called The Body Keeps Score. And it's like, these emotions have to come out one way or another. And sometimes they come out with burnt out. Sometimes they come out with you being, you know, powerless against legit everything in life. Sometimes it comes out with you just not having any drive, not any motivation, not any ambition. And sometimes it just comes out with, you know, belwed, like you either smoking, you taking up activities that are haram, not good for you, and stuff like that. So early childhood development is very, very important for a lot of boys, because girls are like, okay, you can cry, you're a girl, it's okay. But boys didn't receive that. They were like, why are you crying? Like, why are you talking about your emotions? Why are you doing this? You need to be doing that. And then now you get into an adulthood, right? And now you're meeting a girl and she's got the fantasies of like a guy, you know, K-dramas and stuff like that. And I love K-dramas, but it's like these type of characters, we've never been taught how to be them. Also, being a husband is not a natural thing. Being a wife is not a natural thing. Being in a relationship is not a natural thing. There's a lot of skills that you need. There's a lot of learning and unlearning. So I'll give you an example. There was like 3 weeks ago, I was coaching a sister, and I legit asked her, I said, hey, can I retell your story? She goes, yeah, you can. So basically, she was like very annoyed with her husband for not doing the housework. And she was like, the guy she attacks him, right? And I said to her, like, hey, like, look, I validate your experience and the issue that you have with your husband. Yes, like, you feel alone in the household chores and stuff like that, and I understand it can be frustrating. So why don't you do this for 1 week? Let him do the household chores in his own time. But what you're going to do in that same week is you're going to appreciate everything that he does for you, even the small, from the small to the large. Then I gave her 20 phrases, and I said, you are going to say these 20 phrases to him. Find a way to say it to him. I said, you've been married for 3 years. Okay, find a way to say it to him. Okay, and see the reaction that he gets. And it's funny because I have these phrases right here, and
share it with the world.
And honestly, like, I'm writing
the gems, bro.
I'm writing a little book on like how to appreciate, basically, fitra. Right, the way men need to be loved and the way women need to be loved are completely different. 100%. And there's a book called Men Are From Mars and Women From Venus, and it kind of touches upon it. But Islam actually says, we've created you in different ways, right? Men's fitrah is competency, legacy, mission, right? He needs to be complimented for what he does and for what he is, right? A provider, a maintainer. Allah made him a qawam, which means a maintainer, right? Women is different. Like, it's basically like 80-20, which means 80% of people fall into this category, and then 20% fall into the other category. Which is basically saying, like, you as a man need to be, the word I love you, there's phrases that are same in significance to I love you, right? To men. And I gave this to her. I said, hey, look, these are the phrases that my wife has said to me, and I've spoken to other guys and said, what did your wife say that really stuck with you? Put a book in a book, and I said, you know, it's like a little pamphlet. I said, I'm just going to make it, send it, because it worked wonders for her. Because she said, this man came back, he was different. he goes, he's doing tasks I didn't even tell him to do, you know. And she goes, I said to her, did you say thank you? Did you compliment it? Did you express it? She goes, yeah, I did. And like, he keeps doing more of it. And she was like, I didn't know it was this easy. And I said, it's always this easy. It's never difficult. It's just we don't. Number one, we never taught, so you can't do something you've never been taught. But number two, there's this like thing where if I express a love, or if I express appreciation, what if I don't get that back? Or what if I'm putting myself out there for no reason? And also, unfortunately, ladies have come to this realization, or this kind of like thing where they're like, romance is for them. You know, romance is for them, right?
One-way street.
That one-way street, yeah.
Let me give you whatever you want. Preach,
Unfortunately, there are some people who grew up with the mentality that romantic gestures are for them. The flowers for them. That date night for them. You know, let's be very honest. If I take you, as my friend, as my boy, if I tell you, I'm gonna take you out, I'm gonna buy you flowers, and I'm take you to this restaurant, you're gonna be like, my friend, what's going on here?
Yeah,
okay. What's going on here?
Maybe the wire's got crossed somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. We said.
You're good.
But we have something equivalent.
But we have things that are equivalent. Look, every man should receive gifts, flowers, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we're talking about the appreciation and the significance of it, like the same way it hits, right? And so when I told,
feeling needed.
yeah. So when I told her that, I said, look, like you need to say these phrases, you need to say these things to him. And then, because these are things that my wife has said to me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm about to run for a wall. Like, I'm about to like 13 hours. I'm about to do some more. And so, even just saying thank you, right? So, for example, I want to get your
reactions.
Yeah, because for example, let's say 5 is like, whoa, like this would actually touch my heart. Like this will. 1 is like, you know what, it's not really that. And 3 is like, you know what.
So you want us to rate it?
Yeah. Because I gave it to some of my boys. I said, yo, rate it. And they're like, bro, if my wife said this to me, or if somebody said this to me, I'm done. I'm done. And so I'll go through the ones that I know like a lot of people have appreciated. Right? One of them is she actually said it to him. When she came back to me, she said, asked her which phrase like
worked.
Yeah.
And she said to him like, I'm so proud of the man you are. And
wow.
You see,
that's a 5. Cherry, I'm sorry.
She just said to him, yo, like I'm proud of the man you are. She told me that one, like
it hit all the right buttons.
Yeah, all the right buttons, yeah. And then I said the more of them. So number 2 is like, I appreciate everything you do for us, even the things I don't always notice.
Yeah, now you took it from a 4
to
a 5.
It was a 4, but you took that 5. that little addition in the end.
Addition, yeah.
And then another one is like, I feel safe when I'm with you. As a man, a Rijal, you always want to be that person.
100%.
Like, do you feel safe? Do you feel good? Like, do you think I can protect you? And when she says it, like, yeah, I feel safe with you. Like, you're doing well. I feel safe. The kids feel safe. Everything. That's it. You've maintained your household. You've done the things you were meant to do. Another one is you handled that really well, and I admire your strength.
Wow. Gems. Gems, bro.
And then the next one, this is the one that a lot of my friends said, yo, bro, like, come on now, you're killing us. Is I trust your judgment, and I know you'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'll be like, yeah, listen, I can take over.
What do you want? You tell me what you want.
And then another one of my friends, alhamdulillah, he had a child, and he took over, basically. Took over the household duties. He let his wife rest. He got the family involved, stuff like that. And she said to him, you're a great father, and our kids are lucky to have you. And he said to me, bro, he said, I sat there. Yeah. He goes, I started crying. He said, I don't know what went. He goes, I just started crying. Because he goes,
touch some chords.
Yeah, because, bro, he goes, I had sleepless nights.
Yeah.
I'm worried about her. Yeah. I'm worried about the baby. He's like, bro, postpartum depression is real. I can see it, how it's affecting her. You know, her body's changed. You know, she's feeling insecure about things that she'll never feel insecure about. And then when she said that to me, I just said, bro, like, I'm doing enough, basically. And the other one is
a lot of times you don't know, bro. A lot of times you don't know.
Yeah.
And it just feels like sometimes the effort you're putting in either maybe might not be being appreciated or going into a void, and it's just continuous.
Yeah.
So when you have these kind of stopgaps when the other person,
it's noticed.
Yeah, when it's noticed and it's acknowledged, and it doesn't have to be a big massive show, no, but just having those words of affirmation, you're recognizing that it makes a world of a difference, bro.
Exactly. And the thing is, it's so simple. And alhamdulillah, for example, me, it was very important to have these things. So when me and my wife were speaking, I said, before we got married, I said, these are the things I need, right? but she does it naturally so well. I'm just like, yo, like, I said, you're killing me, man. I said, what do you want today? I got £5 in the bank. I'll give it to you. And like, for example, the one, I respect the way you carry yourself. You're a man. What's it called? This one's one of my favorite. You're my peace, and being around you just calms me.
Wow.
Another one, as we are all men and we work hard, right? When she said, I admire how hard you work, and I know it's not easy. And I said, subhanallah. I said, my friend. I said, hey. One of them is like, I love how you lead with both strength and kindness. Because we know leaders who are like,
100%.
Like
iron fist.
Iron fist. But then there's people who do it properly.
Because finding that balance is incredibly hard, bro. Because you, for us, when we're in that mindset of leading, we approach it the way we do it as men. And sometimes, again,
just grab things, yeah.
You know what I mean? And it goes back to your point, which is that we have different needs. Men have different needs. Women have different needs. And sometimes when we approach a situation as a man, we forget that, okay, the other person is radically different to you. So what they need from you in that moment is different to how you arrive usually, or how you lead in a different situation. So it's finding that balance. It's no, bro.
No, what you said is beautiful. Before we finish the list, because there was a friend I was talking to, and he said to me, bro, like as men, we're solution oriented. Like, you come to me with a problem, I'm thinking of 100 solutions. 100%. Bro, have you tried this? Have you thought of this? But when there's a missus, when there's your wife, it's different. So, for example, I told her, okay, next time your wife comes to you, because she basically got frustrated with him. He went into solution mode. As the next time she comes to you, why don't you just tell her, like, yo, do you want me to comfort you, or do you want me to give you a solution? And when she asks for comfort, just empathize with her. Just be like, oh, that must be hard, or that must be really frustrating. Like, would you, like, I can see how that'll be annoying. Like, validate her feeling. Think about her feeling, right? He said, cool, I'll do that. But he came back to me, he goes, subhanallah, bro. It was that easy.
That's the running thing, bro. Was it that easy?
Wallahi. We always think is because we as men, we think it must be the hardest thing ever, right? It must be something that is so far from us. I'm like, bro, it's just a mentality change. 100%. It's just a different language.
I think the biggest downfall is the communication. I think number one, it has to be communication, because how can everyone come back and still say, is it this easy? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? By just communicating.
But I think once you get into a marriage, you would know, you just kind of get into a mode. Like, you just go, right? Especially when you're working. You need to be mindful. So you need to sometimes stop. You need to sit and actually need to regulate and actually speak to the person. People can say communication, but communication is a two-way street, right? 100%. Like, it's like a catch, right? I can throw the ball, but have you caught it? And there's a workshop thing that I went to that I implemented into my workshop. What they did was they put two people back to back, and they gave them Legos, and they said to this person, here's the shape that you created. Communicate that shape to your partner, to the other person, and the other person can't see but they can hear. And they're like, take the yellow, put it on like this. Take the red, put it on like that. And then they said, okay, after 2 minutes done, turn around, show each other the shape. 100% of the time, none of the shapes.
It's never the same,
And they said, did you communicate? Yeah. Were you clear? Yeah. Did you understand what you're getting? Yeah. Did you hear the instructions? Yes. So why is it different? So I can experience words differently to you from my background.
Exactly.
Right? Listen, it could be a violent word to me, whilst listen could be a great word for you. Right? So if I got smacked as a child and the word listen was being used, and you use it against me in a conversation, I might think you're being confrontational. Yes. What do you mean listen? I am! You understand? So it's like there's so many nuances to these things, but people don't understand that. 100%. Right? People don't understand that. But the last few that we'll get back into is like, you're the kind of man that I prayed for. And my missus said this to me. I said, hey, dear sister, what do you mean you made dua? And then the last one is, I feel lucky to be yours. And I legit gave it to that sister and a few others. And I asked, hey, what were the results? Like, talk to me about how are they changing behavior. And they're like, bro, subhanallah, like, it's crazy. And going back into just the book itself. So I gave a few people come back to me and they said, bro, there's one girl, like, she said, bro, I almost married the worst person. I said, why? She goes, I spoke to him about, there's a chapter about mental health and well-being. And she asked the guy, hey, what do you think about mental health and stuff like that? He looked at her and said, "What is that? That don't exist." What do you mean mental health? Like, that's the white man's out. That don't exist for us. It's never been part of our. And she said, "Well, I stopped speaking to him right there and then." She said, "I realized then he was gonna kill me. He was gonna see me in postpartum depression. He's like, what's depression? You just gave birth. Yeah, man." So yeah, stuff like that is my day to day. And in terms of the book, was just to jam pack as much information, relevant information, so that people know critically what they're getting themselves into.
What would you say the biggest misconceptions are then when it comes to like young adults about the talking stages?
Number one, that you can't do it quickly. That the longer that you take, the more information you have. But I'm just like, okay, if me and you have the same conversation every single day, we're just gonna learn the same things every single day, right? One of my friends, he before I got married, so he was actually laughing at me before I got married. He's like, "Bro, this is an interview, man. It's too formal." And I said to him, "Bro, it's the way you talk. You know, it's the way you communicate. It's the way you bring up the questions. You can make it conversational. You can make it informal. You can make it a game. You can. It's up to you, right? Me and my wife, we always laugh. So even in the question when we're in a serious situation, we're still laughing. There's still that playful banter there. I gave him the question. So after I got married, he goes, "You know what? Like, that's it. Yeah, you proved it to me. Give me the questions." I gave it to him. But he was speaking to his sister for 7 months. He said to me before, "Perfect for me. I'm done. Like, that's it. I'm out.
I'm ready."
Gave him the question. He asked her one of the first few questions, which was, he loves children. He's like, "Bro, I've worked so hard because I want to have children. I want to have a big family. That's my thing. I come from a very big family. I want to replicate my dad. Basically, I look up to my dad. I see what he's built, and I want to do the same." So he spoke to his missus. He asked her, "Would it be a problem if within our first year of marriage we have a child?" She said, "Children." "Oh, what's that?" She said, "No, my brother. We're not having, like, I'm not having children. Like, I'm not, especially within the first year, and I don't even want to have children at all at the moment." He was shocked.
No, he shouldn't be shocked.
Wait,
shocked.
Is this the person he was speaking to for 7 months?
Yeah.
7 months. I'm
7
sorry,
months.
but you can't be shocked.
And I said
7 months.
But that's the thing. A lot of people have this perception of like a qualification. After month 1, we get to know each other, and then month 2 we solidify. Then month 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
We start asking
serious questions.
Right,
Let's kiki first.
Let's kiki first. Like, let's see if we can have chemistry, right? And I go against chemistry. I said, "My friend, you is someone here, and then how to get in, and you never know for life. Like, in 1 hour, you should."
Someone you don't know for 1 hour.
Yeah, you never know for life, basically. So he realized, whoa, I should ask this question at the beginning. That's the thing. Me, I said, "Bro, we know what we're doing.
Yeah.
If you approach your sister, you approach her for a reason.
Yeah.
So what's your reason, right? Also, if you're approaching her for marriage, why are you not speaking about things that are descending to marriage?
And know what you want. Know what you want first.
Yeah, know what you want first.
Sit down with yourself.
And the questions from the book are self-reflective. So at the end of each question is like, cool, have you thought about this? How has this affected you? How is it going to affect the future you? And also, how do you think it's going to affect your marriage, right? People the only thing people think of, like, let's say finances, right? People think of lack of money, but sometimes abundance of money is also bad, right? If I work 15 hours, 17 hours a day, and my wife's getting neglected, have I done anything? Yeah. Allah's giving me the provision, yes. But if she's not experiencing that time with me, that quality time, then what have I really done? I've just worked for myself, right? This money was going to come to me anyways, and I've just overworked myself and neglected my family. Now that's a reality that a lot of boys are going to have to come with. Especially when you create a business, you realize, oh, you're the marketer, you're the engineer, the editor, and everything, right? So you're like, okay, how do you balance this lifestyle with having a missus and having children on top of that, and then having responsibilities for the community, then having responsibilities for yourself, and all these different things? How do you communicate that with somebody? You have to say at the beginning that how the household going to work. Who's going to do majority of the chores? Who's going to take care of these things? Who's going to take care of, logistics? How many times are we going to see my family? How many times are we going to see your family? When it comes to mental health, like, have you got, illnesses that I should be aware of, right? Have you got debt that I should be aware of? Because you take on debt when you marry that person, right? What's your spending habit? Are you a large spender? Sometimes I might be someone who doesn't spend too much. You might be somebody that spends every day. How much have you got in your savings? What do you think about savings? What do you think about charity? You know what I'm saying? What do you think about knowledge? Are you seeking knowledge? Are you going to the masjid regularly? Are you attending the masjid regularly? Where's your Quran at? Like, are you reciting your Quran? Are you learning your Quran? Okay, cool. What's your relationship with Allah at? There's different levels to Iman, right? What is my level of low Iman compared to your level of low Iman? My level might be like, oh, I'm just praying Asr 1 hour later. You know what I'm saying? Your level of low Iman might be like, you're drinking. Right, so where,
these are realities, bro.
These are realities. People get to marriage, they're like, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know. Like, how do you like to be dealt with when you're upset? You know, are you a stonewaller? Do you remember when you guys we got into that circle? Like, I was talking about different conflicts. I said there's a conflict avoider, there's a conflict validator, empathizer, and then there's that conflict explosive person, conflict volatile. I remember Drew was like, what? Say that again. Come back. I remember a couple of the brothers were like, wait, I've experienced that.
Yeah.
Or I do this.
Yeah.
Like, whenever conflict arises, I want to freeze. Like, I want to run away. And then there's 3 Fs, right? There's freeze, there's fawn. So there's fight, there's freeze, and there's avoid, right? Flight. And then you have the last one, which is fawn, which is a people pleaser, which is somebody who just wants to get rid of the conflict by pleasing. Like a lot of people do this with their parents, right? Where the parents will be like, why did you do that? Okay, yes, mom, like, you're the best. Yes, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, I disrespect, You haven't dealt with the actual issue. The conflict is still there. The boundary is still being broken. You know, nothing's changed. So when that issue repeats itself again, the same reality is going to happen. People have learned, I'll be safe if I'm agreeable, right? And other people have learned, I'm never going to be agreeable with you. I need to fight for myself. Other people have learned, I just need to fly. I need to get out of here, avoid it, pretend that nothing's happening, walk on eggshells all day, and hope, like, go to my room, right? Or avoid it, or play PlayStation all day and just avoid that issue. These are all things that are going to happen within a relationship. Even like fights, right? So in my coaching sessions, I will legit tell people, what are your boundaries when it comes to fighting? And they'll say, what's that? I'm like, wait, so when you fight your partner, you say anything?
It's all emotions. Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, I say whatever. Like, I say whatever comes to my mind. I say whatever comes to my heart at the time. I say, so you don't have like a box where you say, we're not going to go ever outside this box. They're like, no. I'm like, so I said, what's the worst thing you said to your partner? And one person said, yeah, like I said, I wish I never married you.
Wow. And
then another person said, yeah, like, this is why your family dislikes you. Like, it's
you can't take these words back.
That's the problem.
The thing is that a lot of people say these things and expect normality.
Yeah, afterwards,
name calling.
Babe, what do you want to go at?
What do you mean?
What do you mean, babe, bro?
Yeah. Don't bait me.
Don't bait me. How dare you? Yeah. I'm leaving.
Yeah, no,
I want to go back to that moment, you know, when we were sitting in a circle.
Yeah.
And my question is, because we were all there, so I'm not gonna elaborate on the situations, whatever. But what are some fears men have about marriage that, you know, over the years or from people you've spoken to, you've regularly heard, like some misconceptions they have about marriage? Maybe sometimes it's about a fear or a misunderstanding they have about marriage, or the prep to getting married.
So a lot of them, they have this fear that they're gonna fail. Like, you will see like a 28-year-old or a 30-year-old or much older, you ask them, hey, are you ready to get married? They'll be like, no. And you ask them, why you're not ready to get married? They're like, bro, like, I'm just not ready. And so I sat down with one of my friends and I said, okay, tell me what the reason. You've got a house, you've got a car, you've got a great job, you know, you've got a great family, you come from a great family. So it's not like you come from a toxic, scary family. What is it that's stopping you from this point of your life? And he was honest. He said, bro, I'm afraid of failing. I'm afraid of getting into marriage and I married the wrong person. And I'm taken advantage of. And then people see me as the person who couldn't maintain his household. I'm afraid of marrying somebody who takes advantage of me completely, emotionally, physically, financially, right? The only thing that boys fear is finance. They fear that financial, number one, that financial burden, or number two, that financial abuse that they might get into, right? But for me personally, I think they should fear the emotional abuse. I think they should fear the lack of love they're going to receive, because that's more common. That's more money, tangible money you can receive back.
Yeah.
Money you can make more money tomorrow. Money you can always get. Risk is already written. But safety is not guaranteed. You know, vulnerability is not guaranteed. Your name being looked after is not guaranteed. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's certain things that I'm looking at some boys. I'm like, you've been conditioned to accept the bare minimum. So girls say, oh, that's the bare minimum, right?
We don't have that.
But us is like, I'm just gonna suffer, and and here's the thing, we've done it to ourselves at times, because one of our how many of our guys can commonly say to us and say, yo, I just got violated, man, like
it's regular.
Like bro, like I got ghosted, or you know, I've got, you know, she said these phrases to me that really hurt me. You know, it brought me to tears, or you know, I really felt struck back by that. No majority of us do it. And me, alhamdulillah, like, I knew this career was possible for me, because I remember back in the day, there was, you know, call my boys, there was a sofa in my house, that sofa has seen every single one of my boy cry. That sofa has seen everyone tear up, to the point where, because bro, like, I always say men know women better in terms of experiencing each other, and women know men better. And I always say a sister who has married one of my friends, she knows him better than I will ever know him.
Facts, 100%.
Ever know him, right? Because she's experiencing him on a daily basis, but in the most intimate way, right? When he wakes up, when he's angry, when he's happy, everything, right? Me, I'm only experiencing when I'm out. Football, you know, we're joking about with each other, stuff like that, and stuff like that.
In
So
a certain aspect as well.
Certain aspects as well, right? So I remember a couple of my boys will be sitting, and I'm quite inquisitive, so I will ask questions. So I'll be like, okay, she did that, but that's really harsh, man. Like, that must hurt. They're like, yeah, actually, yeah. Yeah.
They're realizing with you, man.
And then when you use certain languages, then, bro, that must be tough, man. Like, wallahi, like, that is, you know, it must affect you, you know.
How you feeling now?
How you feeling, like, bro, like, that was, they're like, it is what it is. And I'm like, no, bro, it's not, it is what it is. Like, that's actually harsh. Like, nobody should be experiencing that. Nobody should go through that. And they're like, yeah, wallahi, yeah. Like, and they're like, just me validating the experience, me saying like, yo, bro, that's not normal, that's not kind.
Creating that space, innit?
Creating that space, but
making it safe.
Making it that's the thing. Is am I safe to say how I feel and not be judged? And I'm not gonna banter you tomorrow. I'm not gonna use it against you tomorrow. Like, we're playing FIFA, and I'm losing. You're beating me 5-1. And my brother, remember that girl? What's her name? Sophia? Sophia? Do you remember how she blocked you?
No wonder she blocked you, man.
No wonder she blocked you. Playing FIFA all day. 5 at the back. You should be defending her. You see?
And you know the thing is, a lot of the times we class all of that as banter. You know what I mean? And that's the scariest bit, because it's like, nah, you know, me and my mandem, the way we diss each other, nah, it's all banter, you know, blah, blah, blah. Bruv, you're the same guy that's crying at home, you know.
But you know what I mean? No,
you're leaving the place and you're questioning yourself.
It affects you.
You're questioning yourself. I'm looking at the guys, I'm like, my brother, you've been wearing the same shirt for 10 years. Come on now. What's going on? Like, what's happening? Like, talk to me about this, right? Even like depression, social anxiety, things that mandem are not going to speak about, right?
I know a lot of mandem that don't believe it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And yet you tell them to speak on a stage, they will never do it.
Never.
If you tell them to go up to that person and salam them and introduce them, they will never do it. They'll be like, why do I need to do it? I'm comfortable here. I'm like, okay.
Bro, you're anxious, man.
Exactly. Why are you shaking?
Why are you shaking, bro?
Literally, you're shaking. Like, you can see vibrating.
Exactly. What's going on? So is that at some point we have to we have to create a safe space for ourselves within our own mind, and to say, yo. Also, we need to hold each other accountable.
Yeah, facts.
Like, a lot of guys are doing things that are unacceptable to the sisters. Same way the sisters are doing unacceptable. But we are looking at the guys. We're not telling them, yo, like, your behavior is unacceptable. Like, I used to look at older Somali men and I'd be like, how are you a deadbeat father and your friend is not telling you, yo, when's the last time you saw your kids? Why aren't you going to your kids? Why aren't you chatting to your kids, right?
And his friend's a present father. He's a present father, but he's not pulling up his own boy. He's chilling with him in
he's chilling with him in Mahad, right? So it's like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? That's why, like, I remember at the SSCOPE event when Jibs was like, yo, like, come on, guys, like, let's do better. Like, the sisters are here, and the thing is about Somali sisters, well, I'll be honest with you, a lot of them are great. A lot of them are good people, and a lot of them support. But here's the thing, as boys, where are you guys? Right? We're not saying that there's no problematic sisters. And we're not saying there's not problematic brothers, but where are you guys? Like, come on now,
Yeah.
get your bootstrap up. Talk to your boy. Say, yo, what are you saying? Like, there was a video I was watching, and he was like, why do we all wear the same colors?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought about it, and I was like, and I get complimented a lot. I get told a lot, like, bro, you're wearing pink, or bro, you're wearing green, or bro, you're wearing brown, or maroon, or whatever. And I'm like, I don't care if you see, I don't care if you see me in it. I don't care if you don't see me in it. I can wear the same black as you. But there's a lot of things where a lot of boys will kind of like dress the same, act the same, do the same things, and then
don't stand out.
Don't stand out. It's almost like a fear of standing out. And then when you do stand out, when you do something that's different, you get backlash. I get a lot of backlash, right? A lot of boys like, what are you talking about? Like, why are you telling people the secrets? So why is it that? Stuff like that. I'm like, I couldn't care about you, my brother. Like, you don't know me, I don't know you. You're not gonna try to put me in my place, essentially. Like, you're not gonna try to put. Here's the quota of how you must act like a man, and if you don't, we're gonna put you in your place. I'm like, I couldn't care of what your quota is.
But you know what you've done. You've created boundaries.
Yeah.
You understand? So if I always say this, like, if a guy can't create boundaries with himself and with other men, how are you going to do it in a relationship and to women? You're never going to do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the men who are more comfortable to say to his boy, listen, you've crossed the line.
Yeah.
Or like, I don't care what you think. Already, that other guy might look at you like, oh, he's a waste man, or he's this and that. But deep down, he respects you.
Yeah, because you're like...
Do you know what I mean? Because you said, listen, this is fine. This is beyond fine. You understand? You've created that boundary. And it's the same with women. Like, if you don't put, like, listen, I'm okay with this. Like, my banter might be up to this limit. But AdiWahab is 10 decibels higher.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
But just because you can banter like this with AdiWahab doesn't mean you can banter like that with me.
Exactly.
Everyone